Hi everybody. This is a brief update video about what's been happening in my life as of the last 4 days. So on Friday night, I messaged a friend and I was really distraught. I was really upset. And I told him, hey, I'm lonely and I don't know what to do. He took pity to me and said, just come hang out with us. Afterwards, he said, we're going to a party, and he went to his party. And I briefly mentioned that I'm homeless and I had nowhere to go. And he said, I'm sorry, man, but I can't help you there. And I felt anger and resentment towards him because I felt like I was running out of options and I didn't know who to talk to. So after that sort of interaction, I was really angry and I decided to call 000 and tell them to come and help me. At first, they didn't come right away. I actually waited about an hour and a half just sitting in a train station. And then I called again and just said, I want to kill myself. I didn't actually want to kill myself. I just wanted to, fast track the process of getting help. I know it sounds like a slimy, inauthentic thing, but from my perspective, it was just, I was so desperate to be out of the cold. It was really cold that day and I was alone and I had no support. So, the police came and I had like a brief but uncomfortable conversation with the police. And then the ambulance came. They put me in a little chair after they took me to the Royal North Shore Hospital. And from there, they took me to a bed. So I sleep in the bed Friday night. I wake up around Saturday, 8 a.m. That's when I'm, transported here to the psych ward. Of course, the psych ward does have its benefits, which is, you get your own, you get your own bed, you get your own room, and my room comes with a bathroom and a shower, and that's pretty good. But at the same time, it's just worth noting that it is still frustrating because I have to make a trade-off here, and the trade-off is I'm in a situation where I have a bed and I haven't had access to that for a while, but also I cannot leave and I'm being monitored by like these rigid staff members who are unfortunately implementing a lot of rigid, annoying rules. So look, it took a while for me to adjust to it and I'm still like mentally adjusting to it. But I want to give myself some grace here and just say, like, look, even the most mentally well, healthy, adjusted person would be frustrated with the rules they implement because, it's like first you can't use your phone until you get reviewed, and then they ask you a series of questions, and the psychiatrist is like, he asks a lot of really confronting and upsetting questions from me. And so that's like my current situation basically. And throughout this time, I'm not perfect, of course. I'm not perfect by any means necessary. I do have this flaw that unfortunately it took me a long time to realize what it was, and I'm still like, I would say I still have that knee-jerk issue, and this is the issue. When I feel the need to say how I feel to someone, I like throw it out there right away. It doesn't matter what time it is, it doesn't matter the occasion, it doesn't matter like what they're thinking, it doesn't matter whether it's a holiday or a bad day or a good day. I just have this intense urgency to say what's on my mind sometimes. And recently, like that's gotten me in a mild amount of trouble with the psychiatric unit. So I asked for my laptop today because I had access yesterday, and they said, hey, you can't have it yet, and they needed to discuss things. And after a discussion, they said, hey, just if you have your laptop, do not send inflammatory messages. And it's weird because I did send inflammatory messages using the laptop, but I lied to them and I said, well, I was just sending inflammatory messages on Messenger on my phone. I also got banned today, which is, I've never been banned from messaging people on Facebook Messenger, but I got banned for messaging someone who I very much dislike, just telling him exactly how I feel. So in that particular situation, I guess I do regret the fact that I went a little too hard because frankly, when someone is a pure asshole, you shouldn't actually match their energy. And that's what I felt like I needed to do, was to match his asshole energy by just being a bigger fuck you than he was. So yeah, basically I've been in this ward now since Saturday morning, so that's 8 a.m. Saturday, all of Saturday, all of Sunday, all of Monday, all of Tuesday, and now it's Wednesday, and it's past 3 p.m. As you can see, I had a blood test done, and they gave me a little, I think we can take it off, yeah, see? A little smiley face, it's pretty cute. Look, this situation is not a great situation. It's actually pretty upsetting. I believe that the underlying foundation of psychiatric care is a flawed system. They operate under these flawed assumptions that when someone is mentally unwell, the best thing to do is just keep them locked up against their will and just look at them and observe them. And then recently they try to fluff it up and add some nice things and go, well, we'll give them some TV time, and in the other ward, we'll give them a PlayStation. And it's like, those are not addressing the core issue.
Are you okay?
It's like those aren't addressing the core issue here, because the core issue in my life is that even though I have some positives, like I'm talented and I'm good at X, Y, and Z, I have many, many core deficits because I just wasn't trained. Like, to give you some really basic stuff, when my father tried to teach me basketball or swimming or driving a car or riding a bike, he did so in a way that was so intense and anxiety inducing that like my body and brain just sort of shut down and just basically went like this. Like I just felt this repulsion to do it. And he sort of blamed me for having that reaction that he himself caused. He freaked me out and just said, "Why are you freaked out? Stop freaking out," which made me feel worse because it came with this assumption that he was giving me. And the assumption is this: if you're freaking out while you're about to ride a bike, you have the power to choose not to freak out. That's kind of what he was saying implicitly, and that's really frustrating. So right now I'm in a situation where basically my family systems, the family unit, which includes my younger sister, older sister, mother and father, unfortunately they're all kind of part of this toxic, unhealed mess of a system. And recently, yeah, I've been messaging them stuff that's really inflammatory and rageful, and they think that it's because I'm mentally unwell. And you can call it that. I'm not saying you can't call it mental illness, because sure, you can say that right now I have a mental illness, but I truly believe that some mental illnesses are not the same. I actually feel hesitant to speak on mental illness in general because I don't want to make any wild claims or blanket statements. But what I believe to be true is that my particular problem in brain function and physiological responses to the world, I believe that all of that can actually be resolved through multiple therapeutic techniques. Now, in this hospital setting right now, initially I was really upset and irritable that they offered me certain drugs. But I actually have noticed that just by giving some faith to them, giving up a little bit of control and saying, you know what, I'll just take what you're about to give me and we'll see what happens. That actually has helped. Because of course the situation is just not ideal. Like, human beings, in my opinion, have this innate need to go out and socialize with the people they care about. And they have this innate need to express themselves and just go for long walks and be in public. And, the fact that they deprived me of that, they deprived me of the ability to just go out in public and just walk around, that hurts, and it hurts a lot. But I don't want to dwell too much on the hurt because there's no point. Because otherwise I'll end up like some of the other patients who are just like, like that's their physiological or mental response, whatever it is. It's this feeling of, it's like you feel their body is being sucked into the ground and they're rooted in their own pattern of behavior and thinking. And it sucks, and you feel it, and you feel the suckiness in the air when they do that, because again, it's not like they're fully wrong. It's not like they're 100% off, but it's just unfortunately, they are in a bad situation that they are choosing to look at the worst of. So for me personally, this is what I will say. Does it suck that I can't leave this institution? I can show you the rest of it, but it would be illegal, I think, to film anywhere outside of here. Yes, it absolutely does suck. But before I was here, I was kind of out of control. I spent 2 nights basically taking naps in the gym, and the gym owner was like, hey, you can't leave your stuff here. And I got really fucking mad at him and told him to fuck off. And then that made me feel like crap because I felt like I was losing access to the gym, and I really liked the gym. It has a lot of benefits. And before that, I was with a service called Link to Home, and Link to Home gave me 5 nights in a decent, living situation. And they said that in order to continue with them, you have to go into the office and renew stuff. And because I had lost my wallet 2-3 days earlier, I felt so helpless and frustrated because I didn't want to have I need a place to stay and I have no current ID conversation with them. And so I basically just procrastinated it and allowed myself to go homeless just because I was so intensely, afraid or avoidant of that conversation that probably should have happened. And it's also related to my parents because I've been lashing out heavily against my parents who have hurt me a lot in the past, but have made, a lot of effort towards trying to be better now. It's just, it's a complicated thing. And right now I'm in the shit, if you will. It feels shit. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like pure shit. It just feels like a bunch of shit. And I think that's what I want to take away from this sort of experience is that unfortunately I've been trained or forced or coerced in the art of ignoring the suffering that I'm seeing, and just being able to step into the body, step into the current situation and say, I lost my passport and I still haven't replaced it. I lost my wallet and I don't even know how to get it back because I submitted the Transport New South Wales lost property thing. I'm in a psych ward and I barely feel any trust towards any of my fellow patients because frankly, they all seem crazier than me. And, it's like if I do leave, I feel still this mistrust towards Link to Home because again, I don't have my ID and my parents have my birth certificate and I just don't want to deal with all that right now. So there's a lot of overwhelm, but at the same time, it's like, it's much better to sit with this overwhelm and just feel it, even for a few seconds every now and then, than to completely shut it off. So that's what I wanted to say.